the anthem of our career. We've just always been knocking at that door, knocking at that door.
He's actually one of the guys that really made me want to go to WrestlePro.
But we made the best out of nothing, basically.
I really do believe that the Discovery Gauntlet is one of the biggest things that happened to us. It really gave us, it put us on the map for everybody to see what New Jersey and what we had to offer. We took an opportunity and we bet on ourselves. He just came up to us one day and was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about making a group and I'm looking for a tag team."
And as soon as we got the group together, he was like, "I'm thinking about adding TJ to the group." We was like, "Oh, this is gonna work phenomenally."
Another idea thrown at us and we were like, "Let's do it." When I saw the graphic, I was like, "Oh, this is
It's real.
real."
Match Caster was my very first match in professional wrestling ever. What I told you. Tell them what I told you.
What you told me?
I told
You
you
say
not to wrestle, dummy.
Ladies and gentlemen, hosted by Coach C, Chris Sanders, this is Best for Business.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Another episode of Best for Business. I'm absolutely pumped for this one. Before the recording, I was marking out for these guys. I'm pumped to make it happen. The Brick City, man, thank you for joining me.
Hit
Happy
the
to be here.
bricks. Yo.
Now, I'm pumped for this one. Like I was telling Victor earlier, I was a mark for old school WrestlePro and learning about the history and seeing what WrestlePro's evolved to. So whoever wants to start, I'm curious. When WrestlePro, when you guys think of that, what was like the atmosphere and why did you pick WrestlePro to start there?
I mean, you trained first, so you want to get this one first?
I lived in Rahway, so it was
Yeah.
just, a 5-minute trip for me.
Mhm.
But I always saw Pat's what his
The flyer?
advertisements everywhere. Yeah, I've
Mm.
seen his flyers everywhere, and I would see all of their cool super shows that they were doing at the rec. And they used to have JAPW out there. TNA was going there, so like I met so many people just walking to the rec, and
Mhm.
it was just a 5-minute trip for me. So like it was like destiny just to pick that school for me.
For me, it was literally it was on my birthday when I decided to do it. So I saw the flyer myself and I was like, I'm either gonna do professional wrestling now or I'm never gonna do it at all. So I got myself a train ticket, went to Rahway, never been to Rahway before in my life. And I went straight up to Pat and was like, "Hey, I'm here to wrestle." He was like, "All right, come in." And we
Wow.
started wrestling from that day on.
Wow. Now, Julio, you just mentioned JAPW. So, like, growing up, was that like one of the companies you liked watching?
Actually, like it's pretty funny. Like I was a big WWE guy.
Yeah.
That's all I really knew up until Kurt Angle went to TNA.
Mhm.
That's when I discovered TNA. But for me, the love of independent wrestling came from going to the rec and seeing JPW, seeing Dan Moff, Homicide, all these guys, and I'm just like, wow, there's another world of wrestling that's not on TV. Because I used to see on Telemundo, they would have AAA and stuff. They would do the luchadors. So I would see that, and I saw just different styles and different other guys that just weren't just The Rock, Stone Cold, Eddie, all these guys, and it was like, wow, it opened my eyes and it made me appreciate more of the art form of wrestling as opposed to just the entertainment side.
So, growing up, like, who are your guys? Who are your favorite wrestlers?
So the guys that I'm a big Rock fan. I love
Yeah.
The Rock. My brother loved The Rock. My cousins love The Rock. So he's the one that got me into sports entertainment. But
Nice.
as the years went on, my brother stopped watching, my cousins stopped watching, and then the SmackDown 6 came. Rey Mysterio, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, all these guys. And that's what made me fall in love with the actual sport of professional wrestling. These guys were so aggressive and so intense, and you couldn't tell me that what they were doing was, you know, not not cool, like not real, I guess
Yeah.
you could say. So
Victor, what
that's
about
what really got me.
Victor? What about you? Who are your guys growing up?
So my guys were Shawn Michaels, one, because he literally got me back into wrestling because when I was younger, I used to watch it with my friends when I was in 2005, 2006, like when Batista and Rey Mysterio were tag team champions. That's like how long ago it was. And I
Yeah.
came back straight after WrestleMania 25, after Taker and Shawn, and I watched that match and I was like, I have to keep watching and I have to do this someday.
Okay, can we all agree though? That's a 5-star match,
Yeah.
regardless.
That yes,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
if
glad.
there is 5 star, if this is the Brick City's 5 star match rating, and that is one of them.
Nice.
Jeff Hardy is also somebody because I remember when I was also younger, I used to break so many of my beds just doing the Swanton bomb on them. And I would say later in my life, AJ Styles. Watching AJ in TNA was literally like phenomenal.
Yeah.
No pun intended, right?
So I've been
Funny
a
to
mark for
imagine.
you guys, like I talked about, and I've followed throughout your career. So one thing I'm curious, Julio, one of the early matches of your career, do you have any stories? I don't know if you had a hand in trading, but you wrestled Mario Bokara, was it?
Yeah, I did.
How was that match?
It was intense and
Yeah,
as hard hitting as you would expect from Mario Bokara.
yeah.
He's actually one of the guys that really made me want to go to WrestlePro. I remember this one promo that he did that I went to. He's walking from the parking lot into the building, and I believe he was gonna wrestle Moth, and he just cut this mad intense promo that I believed it. Like I believed who he like he's an ass kicker, takes nothing. And there's one thing about him is that when saw him and his climb to the championship, he 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 like meant his words, like he when he said he was gonna do something, he did it. Like he said he was gonna defeat Mario Bokara, and you're like
Hmm.
he's not really going to. And then, by the end of the night, his hand is being raised, and you're like, oh, damn, this guy's the real deal.
Yeah.
So from me to see him as a fan and then working my way training to get a match against him, I definitely bit off more than I can chew.
Hmm.
But it was definitely a great learning experience to know that like the I matched his intensity.
Yeah. So one thing I'm curious about, Victor, I showed you earlier now, back in I forgot what year it was, when I was in seventh grade, I have that photo of you and your tag partner, Adam
Oh my
Bizarre.
God.
So I'm curious, early in your career, how did the Bizarre, I forgot what was the name, the Bizarre ones?
It was the Lost Boys
The Lost Boys,
actually.
how did the idea come to be?
Uh, it was just a random name. We were just throwing around names we can use as a tag team. Like,
Yeah.
we wanted to go Lost Boys, as in like the vampire group, but we went more of the direction as the Lost Boys, like the Peter Pan Lost Boys. But later on, I we felt like it wasn't working for us, so that ultimately is what drove us to like split apart.
Yeah. So there was one match I wanted to ask you about with the Lost Boys. Now you wrestled, what was it, Danny Doring and what was it, Craig Steele?
Oh no, okay, I remember now. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. I remember. Yeah, that was the first time I faced like an ECW guy.
Yeah.
I was pretty nervous, but the match went well, and I have nothing but good things to say about Danny and Craig.
Yeah. And Julio, for you, I remember teaming with Ty Thomas. That was short lived, but you guys had some success for a short amount of time.
Yes, at D2W in
Yeah.
Wharton, New Jersey. That was a fun time in my wrestling career because that was one of the first indications that I had going to somewhere new and kind of finding my footing somewhere. So like with Ty, we were both the top baby faces, and we were pretty much parallel to each other. And it just so happens that the Booker Devil wanted to put us together, and it was a good experience because it made me have to think more about how to mesh with somebody that's not my typical style. Because he's more technical and I'm more
Yeah.
of a brawler,
Yeah.
more hard hitting. I just like to whoop somebody's ass,
Yeah.
but he likes to put people in pretzels. So it was nice and cool to see how um both of our minds would mesh together and come up with things.
Yeah. So when you talk about meshing with a partner, I'm curious. We can start with you, Julio. Do you remember that first interaction with Victor Chase?
Oh, absolutely.
What was it like? What was it like meeting the guy?
He didn't like me.
Wow.
He let's say he was a little pushback with me because he didn't know who I was, and I had trained in 2016 for 3 months at WrestlePro, and this was before my son was born. So, like my personal life kind of had to had to be had to be more, had to be more serious with with my personal life. So then wrestling took a back seat to that. I came back 2 years later, and homie over here just looks at me and is like, "How are you just coming in and just doing drills all of a sudden?"
All
So
right, all
he
right, all right, all right, all right. I didn't hate you. I was confused on what was going on and why they was like pushing you to the top. I didn't know you were trained already a year before.
So when does the idea start of you guys becoming a tag team? Whose vision was that?
It just
It
happened.
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't even ours. It was all of our friends just telling us that, yo, you guys chill a lot. You guys have amazing chemistry together. You guys should be a team. And then we talked about it one day, and I think it was the Ohio trip. Like, I just went just to go, with our friend JXT, and then we ended up tag team match together, and ever since then we've been inseparable.
Who thought of the Brick City? Or the
We
Brick
both
City
did.
Boys at the time?
We
We
both
both
did. We
did.
both did.
So
Yeah.
we at that time he was living in Newark, and
Mhm.
the nickname for Newark is Brick City. And I'm from Rahway, but anytime I've ever told anybody I'm from Rahway, they go, "Ah, like you're like around Elizabeth, Newark, right?" So it's just easier to be like, "Yeah, I'm from Newark,"
Yeah.
and
So
everybody
And
knows
as
the
soon as you
Prudential Center.
say, and as soon as you say anybody's from North, they're like, "Oh man, you're not to be messed with right now."
So I'm curious. I remember when you guys first started, who thought of the original, the yellow and black color scheme that you guys started coming out with?
It was Julio. It was Julio, and we got it off of the Wiz Khalifa song, Black and Yellow," just like our theme song. Shout out to Max Caster for that.
Yeah,
Because every time, like, I hear it, and I'm like, "That is us. We are Black and Yellow." Everything we do it big, and I was like, "Yeah, that rocks."
Wow. So you guys, I was going through research. I told you guys maybe it took me 2 to 3 hours watching matches, cage match, everything. And the one match that sticks out to me first, right off the rip, do you have any stories when you guys got to wrestle Prestige and also Azrieal was in the match with Felipe?
Azrieal and Felipe. Azrieal, a legend.
Yeah.
Love that guy. Felipe, we just met him and he's fantastic himself. And Prestige, I can't tell you how that was a precursor for us being as tight of friends as we are today.
Nice.
Because as soon as BRG and Channing Thomas came into that building, we just sat down. We didn't even talk about the match. We just sat down and just started watching like old backyard wrestling and just enjoying our time together.
Yeah.
yeah, I could say from that experience, we definitely met some lifelong friends along the way.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
such a cool match, and for Azriel and Felipe, like they're studs, bro.
Yeah.
Their
Yeah.
athleticism is crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I remember for you guys the studio tapings, you guys are working your way up in Northeast Wrestling, but I'm curious from
Mhm.
your perspective. I heard BRGs, but from you guys, you did that one tag team match. Did you guys think it would become something big with Victorium?
Absolutely not.
Honestly, no, no. I thought it was going to be a throwaway. I thought we were going to do this one thing and it was going to be over, but we made the best out of nothing, basically. And he kept running with us.
Nice.
Shout out to Mike Lombardi.
Same for you, Julio?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like it was just something that was given to us, and we took it and ran with it.
Yeah.
We were good friends with BRG. Uh, we met Lucas along the way as well, and he's a stud. His mind for wrestling is crazy.
Don't
And
forget Root.
and I was about to say, and J-Heru, just can't forget homie
Ah,
right there.
Now, is he a
uh,
WrestlePro guy too?
Yes, he
yes.
is.
Nice.
Mhm.
So one thing I'm curious about too, I want to hear your perspective. What was it? This tag team Discovery Gauntlet. You guys, I wonder how the opportunity comes to be, but I remember you guys went four straight first before losing a Miracle Gen, but going on a run in a Gauntlet like that, like how did the opportunity come to be?
It's crazy because one of our friends hit up Drew, and after that, Drew hit us up, and he was like, "Yo, I love your guys' work. I want you down to the Discovery Gauntlet." And then we just went on a crazy run, and our first match was literally Waves and Curls, our forever opponents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we and we talked about it. We was like, "We can't get away from you guys."
Yeah.
Then
I
now forever.
I remember because then it was Waves and Curls, it was VBU, it was all tag teams and guys that are like
Hmm.
familiar to you. So you guys had it good.
Yep. Yep, baby. Yep. Really good, honestly.
Now let me ask you, we can start with you, Julio. When you see the Brick City Boys and everything you've done, what would you say have been like the first big opportunity for you guys, or one of your first big matches?
I honestly really want to say that it was the Discovery Gauntlet. It
Nice.
really gave us, it put us on the map for everybody to see what New Jersey and what we had to offer.
Yeah.
Because this was just right after the pandemic, and the pandemic really put a halt on everything. So we were just trying to find any place we can go. We were doing underground tapings. Like it was
Yeah.
pandemic was like a fever dream, bro. Like I,
It was. It really
when I
was.
when I when I look back at it, I'm like, I can't believe the half the things we did
Hmm.
just to get that itch out.
Yeah.
So for me, I really do believe that the Discovery Gauntlet is one of the biggest things that happened to us
Mhm.
for us. And like you said, to go on a 4 win streak was unbelievable for us too, because it was like, you know, we're getting put on this platform to really show what we can do. And it was nice. It was really nice to know that from there we did stepping stones, and now that we have Wrestling Open, Beyond Wrestling, and now the new Wrestling Open Rhode Island, like
Yeah.
all these opportunities that it opened is just unfathomable of that. It just came from one word, pretty much
Yeah.
word of mouth.
Victor, would you say the same for you?
Honestly, yes. Before Beyond, we were doing like taping after taping after taping, not really being seen by most. But as soon as we got in that big platform that Beyond had, it was just we just went off after that. It was amazing time. Yeah.
Yeah, and Julio, I'm curious. You talk about wrestling during the pandemic. What was it like? I remember you guys were doing Northeast shows, but there's probably other ones. What was it like wrestling legit in front of like nobody at times?
It was a different feeling, bro.
Yeah,
Like you really had to think about like it wasn't you couldn't interact really with anything but just your opponent and the ref, and really it made us work the camera better. It made us learn how to work more towards the camera and towards the TV style, and really think about um, maximizing your minutes.
nice. Victor, would you say that too? Those opportunities still helped you in the long run?
100% did. Like he said, the TV style, but it was kind of weird because you couldn't feed off the crowd. You had to feed off of like your own energy, basically. So it made you a better worker to work in those environments.
Yeah. So one thing I'm curious about, Victor Chase, I'll start with you now. Wrestling Open. You guys are part of the third ever Wrestling Open. Now, when we talk Wrestling Open when it first started, I remember it was pitched as like sort of like an open mic night where you didn't know at first the wrestlers you were going to see or the matches or
Mhm.
anything. To be a part of the third and to do everything you guys have done there, what has that meant to you and seeing Wrestling Open transform?
It was an honor, honestly. We didn't. Nobody knew what Wrestling Open was going to become. It was just another place for us to work and show our talents. And shout out to the Haven. Uh, they really should get more of a spotlight than they have. But that match was really good. I love the Haven. I love all the tag teams down there at Wrestling Open, and I hope it grows even more than it is now.
Yeah. Julio, same for you, being a part of Wrestling Open since episode 3. That's something special, man.
It definitely is. I mean,
Yeah.
if you were to tell us that, 3 years down the line that a WWE ID program would be happening, that
Yeah.
Swipe Right would be the champions and be on Evolve and everything, and we're all in that same roster is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, we've we took an opportunity and we bet on ourselves, just like everybody on that roster. Everybody signed up, and we all heard the dirt sheets saying that this was just a cash grab and everything. But no, like we've made this into something that's ours, that we're proud to. Now everybody wants to be a part of.
Yeah.
Everybody from all walks of life, from reality of wrestling, from the Saito brothers, all these guys coming here to and it's just another platform for everybody to show their talents on a bigger scale.
Yeah, you mentioned it,
Mhm.
Julio. That was the next thing. Do you have any stories or any lessons or anything you learned wrestling those guys, the Saito brothers?
Oh, that was awesome, bro.
Yeah.
They to hear their experiences and what they were going through in AJPW
Mhm.
and what they came from, and to there was no language barrier. they were
They
so
spoke perfect
awesome.
English.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were so awesome. So that was a great experience for me, especially to give them a Saito too. That was pretty
Yeah.
fun.
Victor, what
Saito
about you?
to
Was that a cool
Saito.
experience getting that?
Yeah, it was a wonderful experience. Especially, we were their first match on their tour, so we
Nice.
set the tone for the rest of the tag teams that was after them. Because I think they faced main event at Pro Wrestling Grind the same week as us.
Nice.
So it was wonderful. I hope we get to face them again sometime soon.
So when I think the Brick City, one thing that stands out to me is that finishing move you have now. What was the inspiration behind it?
Oh, business is booming.
Business is booming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. What was the
That
inspiration
actually
behind it?
that actually came from our boy Brad Hollister.
Wow.
It was a tag team move that
Yeah.
him and his former partner used to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
I believe Hammer Tunis.
Yeah.
And he was like, you boys, we're big business now, and business is booming, and it just clicked. We did it once, and it just felt right.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. I came up with the name. Don't do that. I came up with the name. Don't do that.
So one thing you guys
AB
mentioned is
baby.
you mentioned Brad Hollister. You guys mentioned big business. Now I remember talking to TJ about it. At first he was skeptical. He didn't know what big business was gonna be because originally it was you guys and Brad. So I'm curious, did you guys know Brad Hollister prior to this? And how was the idea pitched for you for big business?
We knew Brad from Northeast Wrestling, but
Yeah.
we weren't I wouldn't say like as tight as we are now. We
Mhm.
were more like
Mhm,
high buy type. And it
mhm.
just he just came up to us one day and was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about making a group, and I'm looking for a tag team, and would you guys want to be in it?" And we've known about the history that Brad had, especially in Northeast Wrestling and all he's done. And he was someone that I knew that he could help us grow. And then when he told us that he was having ideas or inklings that maybe to bring in TJ, we were all gun ho after that. Me,
Yeah.
Victor, and TJ had been friends since the get. I knew TJ
Mhm.
from the first time when I started at WrestlePro when it was PWS going into WrestlePro. So we've always been attached to the hip ever since our whole career. And for us to be in a group together was just like it was just a dream come true.
Yeah. Victor, what about you? Same situation?
Yeah, same situation. It was always like we were always cordial with each other, but weren't that close. And when he came up to like we're thinking about this group, we were like, we're down. And as soon as we got the group together, he was like, I'm thinking about adding TJ to the group. We was like, oh, this is gonna work phenomenally.
Yeah. So you guys have gotten a few opportunities for AEW, but just have that moment to be wrestling for a company like AEW. All the eyes are on you, putting in all that work for moments like that. What does that mean for you guys?
Again, another dream come true, bro. I
Yeah,
never thought that I
Yeah.
would so early in my career be able to wrestle at the Prudential Center or
yeah,
Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City or even
Mhm.
TD Bank. He's a Celtics fan, and for him, I bet that was just
It was
awesome.
amazing. Yeah.
You
yeah,
know,
It was
for me,
amazing.
I remember I think it was going to the Raw after Mania of WrestleMania 20
wow,
and seeing that and feeling that like it was a full circle moment for me to feel that I was in the stands one time and for me to be in the center of the ring just taking it all in. And he actually got on the mic, which is
I did.
cool.
I did.
So
I
being a
did.
Celtics fan, man, how'd that one feel?
Oh, it was amazing. I was like, oh my God, this is the arena that Paul Pierce won his championship. This is the arena that Jason Tatum got his ring.
Yeah,
It was amazing. It was amazing. It like you would expect us to be nervous, but as soon as we got into the ring, I was like, no, we belong here. We
nice.
belong, and we're gonna strive to do that again.
Yeah. So you guys, when I was going through your resume, it's taking me back to memory lane because I remember seeing a lot of these matches. So the first one Julio will ask you about, I remember it wasn't that long because there was a match prior, but wrestling Bronson and Gallows, wrestling a tag team specialist like Gallows, that
Oh
must have
my
been cool because
God.
they had a match and then you guys attacked them, right?
We did.
Yeah.
We try to make a name of ourselves and um I'll say a hard lesson learned,
Yeah. Get them next
especially for,
time.
especially for Victor.
Okay, if you're not going to tell the story, I'm going to tell the
No,
story.
no, no.
Okay,
I'll let you. This is your story.
okay. So It was it a fans bring the weapons match or is
I
just
remember it was
a
just like a
street fight?
hardcore match or something, or Street
It,
It
Fight or
was a hardcore
something.
match.
I
Street Fight or something.
it should have been a match. We ruined their match, and we just came to just tussle a little bit, just to show them that we're here too. I didn't expect them to come to the back and bring us back out there and start hitting us with God knows whatever they found under the ring.
Yeah. So Victor,
Okay,
what
I didn't
happened?
even.
so
Let's hear it.
if you look at the match,
Hmm.
Gallows is beating my ass all over the place, and I see this fan with a toaster. And I'm thinking, oh, that's not a real toaster. He drops the toaster. I quickly tried to hide the toaster because I see
We we
Gallows behind me.
we threw it under. We tried to throw it under the ring,
We
and I
try to throw it under.
this
He
man
picks
is
up
this
the
man's.
toaster, whams it over my head, and I was like, oh, that's an actual toaster somebody brought from their house. The funny thing is, the fan made me sign the toaster after the show,
Ah, that's
which is
classy.
crazy. It was great. It was great.
So Victor, another match that stands out. Do you have any stories and memories wrestling to infinity and beyond?
Oh yeah. That was a great opportunity for
Yeah.
us. It was great wrestling Colin Delaney and Cheech. I hope we get to do it again. I wish we had more time in that match, but it was a great opportunity to show what we could do against guys of that level.
Yeah. So when we talk opportunity, I'm curious how the idea came to be. When I remember Wrestling Open, sort of when it first started, I remember before there was big business, there was brick and mortar. Now, Julio, what whose idea? How did that one come to be?
It was like I said, it was just another idea thrown at us, and we were like, let's do it. Let's see how it
Nice.
goes, and let's just take the ball and run with it. And that was a fun time because we got
Yeah.
to wrestle. We got to bring back the Shook Crew
Yeah, that's right.
with
WrestlePro
Mac.
Cap guys at the
Yeah,
All
time.
Yep.
Yeah.
exactly. And
All three.
it was definitely a great experience, and we were looking for a third at that point too, kind of. We were looking to see if we can do something else to mix it up with more trios, because there was a lot of guys
Hmm.
with, the Miracle ones and all of this. So it
Hmm.
was nice to find to do stuff with Mortar, and that kid is talented as hell.
Yeah.
He is.
The things he
He
can
is.
do, like I can't believe it.
Yeah.
We
He be
just saw him
doing.
at C4. Yeah, we just
Yeah,
saw
we
him at
saw him at
C4. He
C4,
was
and he
burning
does
down the house.
he does a bottom rope moonsault, and when it pops me all the time. I love
Yeah.
seeing that. And then his cannonball into the ropes, great
Yeah.
stuff.
Crazy.
Victor Chase, same for you. Brick and mortar, short lived, but you guys had some memories.
We did. We have some memories. My favorite match would be what was it? It was like a mayhem match with all the tag teams,
Yeah.
Oh
and
yeah, 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 yeah.
it
Demolition.
was the demolition
Yeah.
derby. That's right. It was there's one we all got together. We did the Jets and the Sharks where we just in the middle of the ring and then we just fought each other. It was great. It was great. It was a great time. Uh, Mortar is just a fantastic talent, and I hope we link up again sometime soon.
Yeah, so when we talk about opportunities, I'm curious. When we talk about the New Jersey, New York area, WrestlePro is big, but another company is big down there you guys got to wrestle for. So whoever wants to take it, how did House of Glory come to be for you guys?
House of Glory came to us because of Midas and Jay Lion.
Nice.
They were looking for opponents to wrestle, and they had hit us up and asked if we were available, and we immediately jumped at the opportunity.
Nice.
And it was surreal because I I don't believe things until I see it.
Mhm.
I'm very like that because a lot of things do go wrong, and I don't like to keep my hopes up all the time.
Yeah.
So when I saw the graphic, I was like, "Oh, this is
It's real,
real."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And for us to be the first match, the opening match, and to hear the crowd and to get the pops that we did and everything, it was a great moment that I'll never forget, especially to wrestle two guys that I really admire. It was a dope, and especially in New York. New York is it's a different
It's a different
energy.
animal.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
They
Victor, what was that like setting the tone for House of Glory?
House of Glory, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Especially even after our match to see the main event of Aussie Open and the Briscoes, knowing that that was the Briscoes' last match at House of Glory, it was one that I remember fondly.
Yeah. So earlier, Julio, you mentioned about when Brick and Mortar, you guys got to wrestle the Shook Crew, but there was a few occasions where you guys got to wrestle the Acclaim for Northeast. Now, Anthony Bowen's also a WrestlePro guy. Getting that moment, that must have been a full circle moment too, in a way.
That definitely was because especially that we did it in Ohio. So
Yeah.
that like that weekend for me was a trip. It was if you're talking about the miles,
Yeah.
oh brother, the miles were there that weekend.
Nice.
Um, it just like I said, it just another opportunity that uh we got and we just took the chance and we felt that we had earned it, that we were able, had earned the right, the privilege to go against Anthony Bowens and Max Caster when they were on top of their game
Yeah.
at that point. They were
That's
doing
facts.
it.
Yep.
Uh, it was nice, and especially to be in a baseball field and the things that we did, uh, and the crowd reaction and how full that crowd was. It was another moment that I won't forget. And I love the fact that you did take the time to research everything because you're
Yeah.
bringing all these good memories that
Exactly.
I
Yep.
don't get to reminisce so much because I'm always looking forward. So to go back and to remember and to think about how I felt at those points, like it's really putting a smile on my face.
Yeah, you guys have
Yeah.
done some crazy things. Now, Victor, going with that, you guys had a six-man tag. I don't think not too long ago with BRG and KC with the Acclaim, but still having that moment with those guys, Creator Pro, Rest Pro guys, that must have been cool to you guys.
It was amazing. Especially with Max Caster. Some people might not know this, but Max Caster was my very first match in professional wrestling ever. It was
Wow.
that birthday party at Cap, and I love Max to death. I love Anthony to death, and I hope to wrestle them again sometime soon.
So you talk about wrestling Max Caster for that first ever match. So for Victor Chase, for you, how do you think you've transformed since that first match against Caster to your most recently match? How has Victor Chase evolved?
Oh man, I remember when I first started off, I was just trying to do everything right, not knowing who I was yet. But fast forward to today, I know who I am. I have the aggression, the intensity. I know what I need to be to level up even further to what I am today.
Nice. Julio, same for you. What was that first match and how have you evolved? Because you started, what was it, like a year before Victor?
Yeah, I started a year before, but I would say I completely came back into the fold in 2 years after. So I would say we have around like 10 months apart.
Okay. So what was
From
that first match for you?
my first match was actually against the Lost Boys
Oh,
and Juan Vargas in a
Wow.
six man. And my partners were Nolan Kennedy and Josiah Tiger, J-Heru.
So how have
And
you evolved since that first match, you think?
oh, I've evolved tenfolds, bro. I had no gear at that point. I had nothing. I was just, literally just thrown to the wolves to either
Mhm.
sink or swim. And I feel like that's mostly what my career has been, just been thrown to the wolves and it's either you sink or swim. And now with that has given me the confidence
Yeah.
to know who I am, to be that ass kicker that I am now. Like I say, my favorites are Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, and they're all intense.
Hmm.
And I feel like I bring that to the table now more than ever. And I know who I am now in the ring.
So when we talk about memories and all the great things you guys have done, what did that mean to you to win the 2023 Eliminator Tag Team Cup? We talk about Beyond Wrestling, how big of an opportunity it was, but to win that whole thing, that must have meant something. Julio, what about for you? How would that mean?
It meant a lot because
Yeah.
if, with the Discovery Gauntlet, we were right there. We were almost there to be winners. And it always just felt in our careers that we were just right there, that we couldn't get over that hump. And after we took a good hard look at ourselves in the mirror and we're like, what are we doing wrong? What is it that we can't, what's that like little bit of spice or little bit of extra that we can add to it? And we just decided to bet on ourselves again and just get better and get smarter and just really be a cohesive tag team unit as opposed to trying to be what everybody wants us to be.
Yeah. So Victor, getting that 3 count, man, solidifying Brick City best tag team at Beyond at the time. What does that mean to you when you got that pinfall?
well, to me, if I could make an analogy, I would compare it to the 2024 championship Boston Celtics. Like we were always knocking at that door,
Yeah.
Like with the Discovery Gauntlet, couldn't get it done. With the first round, I'm
Final.
blanking out. I'm blanking out. The
Final.
finals, the first finals, we couldn't get it done against Miracle Gen again. And then this time around, when we finally did it, it just felt so much sweeter after everything we have been through. Like we had to go through the mud and the dirt just to come out the other side, especially doing it with big business on by our side.
Yes, when we talk about doing big business together, I'm curious. Now it's becoming a yearly staple, but what was it like? I don't remember if it was the first year or the second year, but being a part of Steel Cage Warfare in 2023, seeing what that has done, but what did that match mean to you guys?
That match was a culmination of everything we did for the whole year to show that we were a main story focused group and that we all had something to bring to the table, not just Brad, not just TJ, but we all played our own part. And for us to culminate it as Steel Cage Warfare, it was literally fighting with our brothers, being at battle and knowing that this is all we have. It's just us four against them four, and who's gonna be the top? Who's gonna be the top guys?
Oh,
Fortunately, we couldn't get it done, but
yeah.
it was definitely a nice moment for us to feel that all our hard work and everything, and we bet on ourselves, and we got it to this point where it was a standing ovation regardless of the match result.
So yeah, to have that packed house for that moment too, everything culminated to that match. Victor, that must have been special because you guys did it. You guys were the reason that that place was packed. Everyone wanted to see that match.
Like you said, like it was a culmination of, like he said, everything. It was a culmination of all of our stories. Us and Miracle Gen, Brad and Boofa, Brad and Clancy, TJ and Clancy. Like
Yeah.
there were so many stories like intertwined with each other, and knowing that at that time that was the biggest house that Wrestling Open ever had. It was just mind blowing because we knew sitting down, the four of us, that they came to see us, and that match solidified that we are main event players in this game, and like we're not going anywhere.
Yeah. So I'm curious, who thought of the idea? I know you said Brad had the idea. Did he have the idea for big business? Like the name itself?
I believe so.
Yeah. And the
Yeah,
purple and black, was that
yeah,
him too?
That was a
yeah.
culmination of
Those
all of
are
us too.
yeah.
Nice. So speaking of ideas, one thing that was blowing my mind, Julio, I remember the 5-on-5 tag and even matches prior. You were wrestling with a cast, so how did that come to be, and what was it like wrestling with that?
Well, yeah.
No, 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 no. Tell him what I told you. Tell him what I told you.
What you told me? You
I
tell you
told you
say a
not
lot.
to wrestle, dummy.
Oh, I was gonna say you tell me a lot of things. I don't listen. You know this.
Yeah,
No, yeah.
exactly.
Uh, it was I had broken it in a match against Sammy Diaz and Lucas Chase. We won that match though, so
All that
You
matters.
did.
even with a broken finger.
Nice.
Uh, no, yeah, I broke it. I didn't think I broke it. I thought it was just, a little sprain. It wasn't a little
Wait,
sprain.
let me interrupt this real quick. So I look up, I see him look at his hand, and I was like, this hand is going that way. Like his pinky is going this way.
You
I'm
can't
like,
tell.
yep, that's
You
broken.
you
That's
can't tell which one
you
it
can't
is.
tell now, but at the
Yeah.
time, yeah.
But yeah, no. I had broken it. I went to the hospital, whatever, got it cast, and I still went to the gym. I still did my everyday things, and it just, people have broken their necks, people have broken their quads, and they finished matches, and they just kept going. And for me, it was like, if 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 I don't have a problem with it, I don't think anybody else should.
I
It,
also I also applaud you too when you doing the tape. You did big business colors. I loved it.
oh yeah, of course.
So one thing that you talk about still proving you guys are one of the best tag teams around, winning the WFA Tag Team Championship, still being the champs. What does that mean for you guys?
It's an awesome opportunity
Yeah.
to be honest. Like it was we had wrestled there prior to that, and they were both tag team championship opportunities, and we just couldn't get it done. And again, it was just another thing that, like, what do we have to do? What do we have to do? And another opportunity comes along, and me and Victor just look at each other and we're just like, we what do we have to do to get over this hump again? And it just felt like the Eliminator Cup all over again, but in a different way, because this time we weren't trying to, one up our opponents. We were trying to do this fair and square this time.
Yeah, like it's been like the anthem of our career. We've just always been knocking at that door, and then to finally have like the mental fortitude to get past that and become champions. Because it's been a while at that point since we became like champions, and to this day, I look fondly at our title run right now at WFA, and everybody who's ever faced us down there, it's really been an honor just to be their champion, especially since they became a WWID school. It was really nice to have those eyes on us.
Yeah, so sky's the limit for you two. Now, I'm curious throughout your careers. We went through a lot of matches. We can start with you, Victor. When you look at the Brick City Boys, what are some of the matches that sticks out to you that you guys have had?
Ooh, it's a lot. There was the Affinity Beyond match. There's the acclaim. We went over the acclaim match.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think in my well of matches right now.
Julio, any that sticks out to you?
Um,
Definitely our match against the Hispanic Mechanics,
Yeah.
because they
yes, yes, yes,
basically
yes.
they basically trained us from the ground up, and for us to
Hmm.
be at that point in our careers where we were the guys and they had to come into our territory and try to knock us out. It definitely made us feel like we belonged here, and now we're no longer the students. We're no longer just we're your equals now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So when we
That's
talk
definitely
about
one.
favorite matches or dream matches to come, when we see the Brick City Boys, I told you it took me like 2, 3 hours. I was looking at the cage matches, the YouTube. You guys have wrestled some of the top tag teams, but there's still teams out there. So who else is there that the Brick City wants to wrestle?
The
Everybody.
Hardys. The
Yeah,
Yep.
Hardys. Top one is the Hardys for me. To wrestle one of my favorite wrestlers, Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy, it will be a dream.
nice.
Literally anybody, honestly. We will face anybody anywhere.
We got to bring the Beach Bums back.
You gotta find Sean and Freddie for us. That's all we
Yeah.
gotta do.
So I'm curious when we talk about this year, sky is the limit for you two. You guys talk about wrestling the Hardys, but what are the goals, Julio, that the Brick City Boys have?
More championship gold,
Nice.
more continents,
Yeah.
we want to wrestle everywhere, anywhere, whoever it is. We just want opportunities.
Is there a place that sticks out?
Not well, I wouldn't say play. I would say more like I want to go to Germany. I want to go to Japan. I want to go
Japan, yeah.
United Kingdom. I just want to wrestle everywhere and just get the feel of all the countries and get the feel of all the crowds out there.
Yeah.
Mexico.
Nice.
Mexico, yes.
Now, you
Mm.
guys, I've said it. I am such a mark for you guys, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you guys. And I'm super grateful that you guys said yes to doing this. Now, I'm curious. I've ended every interview the same. We can start with you, Julio, because you started wrestling. But the day you decide it's all done, which I hope isn't anytime soon, what do you want your legacy in pro wrestling to be?
The legacy that I want myself to have in pro wrestling is to show that no matter no matter what, you can always bet on yourself. When the chips are down, it doesn't matter. When you have your back against the wall, you can go through anything as long as you believe in yourself. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what the outside noise is. It
It's
doesn't
been
matter.
I've had such a pleasure watching your career transform, and same with you, Victor Chase. Now, starting off with the Lost Boys, being with the Brick City now, but what do you want Victor Chase's legacy to be in pro wrestling when it's all said and done?
I wanted my legacy to be is that I'm a character for one, but I want to show that Victor Chase is a person that never gives up on his dreams. Just like Julio said, if you put your mind to it, just like I said in my first day of wrestling, like when I decided to become a professional wrestler, I was like, I'm gonna do this now or I'm not gonna do it at all. And I've been doing it for about 9 to 8 years now, and I'm still chasing that dream. So don't give up on your dreams.
Yeah, and I'm curious, whoever wants to take this first. Now, you guys talk about it. Overcoming humps and challenges, the Brick City, you guys have always stayed true. You looked in the mirror and said, what can you do to get to that next level? When it's all said and done, what do you want the Brick City's legacy in wrestling to be?
to be one of those top tag teams. Just I
Nice.
wanted to be remembered as one of the top tag teams in the world.
Nice. Victor, Julio, same for you?
I want to be known as one of the top tag teams, but also guys that when the chips were down, they never gave up. They never changed. They never changed who they were. They stayed true to who you are. Because that's the biggest thing that I've seen, at least me personally, is that when your back's against the wall and when everybody's going against you, you start to doubt yourself and you start fall through the cracks. And having a partner like Victor, we keep each other level-headed and we keep ourselves straight and arrow. This business isn't easy.
Mhm.
You really have to
No,
commit yourself
yeah,
100%, 150%, and really be all in. And to have someone like Victor who's always been there by my side from the beginning and never talked down to me, never, put doubt in my mind. So for him, I'm very grateful to have met someone like Victor and to have him by my side because he's truly my I have a actual brother whose name is Victor. And for
Wow.
me to tag with someone whose name is Victor is just serendipitous. It's crazy to
it's
me.
crazy.
It's
Yeah,
it's it's like, I'm really not one to call like fate or destiny, but I really believe that it was fate for me to meet him and for us to go on this journey together and to hopefully be on your TV screens one day.
Yeah. You guys have been killing it. Like I said, I was marked for both of you guys growing up. So to make this happen, such a full circle moment, guys. Thank you for joining me for this one. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you
thank
taking
you.
the time to have us on.
Thank you guys for doing this. And thank you everybody for watching this episode. This was Best for Business.